Let's talk about authenticity. Authenticity is the idea of being your true self. Think of it that way. Author Bronnie Ware wrote a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. In it, she highlighted the top regret people have on their deathbed, and that is, I didn't live a life that was true to myself. I instead lived a life that others expected of me, or I lived somebody else's life. In other words, I didn't live alignment with who I am. I didn't live in alignment with my own values. And that's where regret comes from. I wasn't myself. I didn't do things that I would normally have done on my own. So in other words, I wasn't authentic. So let's learn how we can be more authentic. Now, authenticity does not mean you just be a jerk because that's just who I am. You can't use this as an excuse because we all have certain masks we have to wear. We all have certain personas. And sometimes when I'm at work, I have to act differently from how I would work or how I would act when I'm on a camping trip or when I'm with my family or when I'm with my nephews. Right? So sometimes you have different personas to wear. And even at work, say, even within that, I might have some different personas. Even with my family, I might have some different personas. So we do have masks that we have to put on. That's not the problem. The problem is knowing when we try on all these masks, who am I underneath? Right? Because you've got to put on different personas to get about your day. Remember, that is normal. That's not being inauthentic. That's not being inauthentic because you don't want to be rude in a case where you're not supposed to be rude. It would be disadvantageous to be rude. Right? So like I said, you might have a persona. You might be somebody else when you're at work. You might be somebody else when you're with your family. You might be somebody else when you're with your group of friends. And you might be a completely different person online. All of those are okay. What we want to do when we think about authenticity is to ask ourselves, once I get to the end of my day, once I take off my mask, once I take off the other mask, once I take off the other mask, once I get all of those masks off, do I know who I am underneath all of that? Because if you don't know who you are, it's hard to live in alignment with who you are. And if we don't know who we are, it's easy to latch on to what we think we're supposed to be doing. That's that first regret. But if we latch on to what we think we're supposed to be doing, this is like pushing a boulder up social comparison mountain. You're never going to be better. You're never going to be the best when you're comparing yourself to everybody. So if you've got your life and you want to live in line with your values, you have to take a look at your values. And your values, think of it this way. It's made up of who you are and what you stand for. Your values are made up of who you are and what you stand for. Now, that's easy to say. That's easy for me, somebody on a screen, to tell you who you are or what you stand for. Just do that. But remember, most of us, or it's easy, it's tempting to think, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So if I don't know, I look to other people, which used to be the actual Joneses, my neighbors. And then I might look to TV shows. But now I look to social media. And I see what other people are doing. And based on that, instead of who I am and what I stand for, the way I live my life is who they are and what they stand for. So even though I might be able to take a look at my life and say, yeah, I'm living my life in accordance with some values. The values and the life are in alignment. And I might think that's good because that's what this Derek guy keeps telling me to do. Just live in alignment with your values. Until you peel back the onion a little bit and you realize, wait, well, those are the Joneses' values. I haven't been living in alignment with my values. That's a problem. That's regret number one. So authenticity is learning who you are after you take off all your personas, after you take off all those masks. Who are you underneath? And it's all there. This isn't about finding things to add to you. It's more like chipping it away. Think of the statue of David. I have here a very crude stick figure representation of a very famous sculpture. So if you bear with me, you can take who you are and you can start stripping away what you are not. And eventually get to who you are underneath all of that. Much like the statue of David started as a block. And it's statue of David. David was always in there. David was always underneath. So this wasn't about creating David out of something. This was about starting with too much and hacking away pieces and hacking away pieces that don't belong and hacking away things that don't belong and getting rid of things that don't belong and getting rid of other things that don't belong until you get to David. So much like the statue, your own life, you can start shedding personas, you can start shedding values, you can start shedding things that aren't you and let those go, because the true you is there. You just have to find it underneath all of the personas that you've been wearing. Greetings, Derek again. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more, please head to meaning.blog, and there you can learn about all things related to money and mindset and purpose and meaning. And you'll be able to find out how we might be able to work together. You'll find more articles. You'll find links to videos. You'll find online courses, all kinds of things to get you going on your journey towards living more intentionally.